All right, so I'm not sure if you want to see me. There are way cooler people here at this event. This is the night before the Washington Athletic Club Collegiate Awards Dinner, and WXV Foundation, supported by the Washington Athletic Club, has this event in Seattle to talk to movers and shakers and meaningful people to talk about supporting the USA Women's 15s team. And I'll move over there on the side, and there's Spiff Cedric and Adia Yesiken talking to former Sorensen winners sitting on the couch. And we've got a bunch of other people, Hall of Famers, famous people, former Eagles, all that stuff here. What this is about supporting the Eagle players to make sure that they are in a financial situation that it's not a hardship to play for the Eagles. And that's what they're raising money for, to get a minimum $150,000 to be able to pay to the players as they go into the World Cup. 60% of that, as I understand it, going right when they get there, so that basically takes that stress away so they can concentrate on performance. XV Foundation, right? And we're going to have more about that, but let's hear about it from people who know more than me.
Well, just to give you some awesome background on the foundation, so Christine and I founded XVF in 2020, and it came as a result of a conversation we had with our general manager from USA Rugby at the time, Emily Bidewell, who brought us all into a team meeting while we were on tour, preparing to play Canada. And she said, given some issues with the union, we are facing a situation where the women's 15s program will have to move to a pay-to-play model. And our hearts just kind of sunk, because once you get to senior side, you think, I've made it, I'm done paying, right? And a little bit about my background is that I was fortunate enough to play for USA U20s, All-Americans, and as much of a privilege and honor that was, those programs were pay to play. So little 18-year-old Alicia was having to work 8-hour shifts at Subway as a sandwich artist and trying to find my way to camps for a number of years just to get to senior side and be like, I'm here, I've made it. And then for someone to be like, but here you're gonna pay for your flights again and pay camp fees again. And which, as daunting as that was for Christina and I, we were probably two of the only players that had full-time jobs at the time. I do have to shout out my boss's boss, Chris Dunleavy, who is one of the owners of Old Glory DC, and made sure that I was always supported, but my teammates didn't have a Chris. And we decided that we needed to be a Christine and a Chris, and figure out a way to make sure that our teammates were supported in the way that they needed. So the union has asked us to fund a bonus incentive program so the team can be supported in the way that they deserve headed into Rugby World Cup 2025 in England, kicking off in August. And so we just wanted to make sure that we got the support of the community, got the support of the families, the friends, the strangers to rugby, whoever it is, and bring them into the fold.
So to Alicia's point, we've surprised ourselves in how well we've done. So we've raised just under $400,000 for the team since we started, and I think 96% has gone to the team. The rest just sits in our bank account. Alicia and I still work our own jobs and do many things for free. So that's the success we've given back to the team. The bonus incentive program that Alicia mentioned is written into the player contracts this year. So this is the first player contracts that USA has ever given out to a 15s program, men or women's. And it's basically states that we will give up to $150,000, more of that if we raise more. And then we have different disbursement levels. A lot of the percentages go out once the World Cup players are selected for camp, and once those players are selected for tour. Whereas other teams are probably waiting on those percentages once they make it through full play quarters, semis. We need to make sure a bulk amount gets to them early, and then we can fulfill it. And if they do and go far and make it to the final, we will find more money.
And the fact that you're here 5 years later is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, my respect for that is just incredible. And the fact that you've just retired, Alicia's just retired, I think, yesterday.
Yeah.
And Christine, the fact that you haven't played for a couple of years for whatever reason, the fact that you guys are still leading the charge and not being on the field really says a lot to your commitment, and it's just a tremendous amount of respect right here. As a potential donor, there's, I think, a lot of confusion about what's the U.S. Rugby Foundation, what's the XV Foundation, how's that different than giving to USA Rugby directly? Could you address that just a little bit?
I think it's easier for us this year because we have one goal, and that's the bonus program.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else is funding different parts of high performance, or the men's 15s, women's 15s, but you're still reaching out to the same group of people. And even with this group, we're trying to reach out past our initial first degree rugby donors. We need like third degree, fourth degree. And something we've been talking about is after this, what happens? We didn't intend to be around for 5+ years. We wanted to be the next group that's just having a debaucherous time at the game.
Be here drinking.
From a very logistical, brass tacks point of view, we are a separate nonprofit, 501c3, registered in the state of Connecticut. Whoop, whoop. And our charge is the players. We started off having an idea of filling in programmatic budget shortfalls, and given that it's a national governing body who is responsible for that, we have decided to not fund program costs. We are here to support the players, and we do that through this bonus incentive program. We also have a scholarship program, so players can apply while they're on tour and say, hey, I need $1,000 this month to pay my rent while I'm on tour because I'm taking a leave of absence from work, or whatever it may be. We support them in terms of scholarship, and then we also have an Adopt an Eagle program that if you yourself say, hey, I want to go support Chetta Emba, and then we connect you with Chetta and you get your donation to her directly. So our goal is 150. If we raise 300, then they'll get 60% of 300.
Yeah.
Whatever we raise, they will get that same percentage of what we raise until September 30th.
The bonus program, every player will get the same amount at 60% at the end of the year. And then whatever rolls over, because what if something happens, goes straight to our pathway initiatives. How do we get more players in? We have a World Cup coming, 31, 33.
Yeah.
How do we get players there? How do we get more players? Need Smith coming out of Seattle, which is beautiful, and playing for WAC sevens and local teams. How do we get more young players that don't have opportunity right now?
Listening to the two of you speak and having heard the conversations that you've had with Julie over the years, for me it's just very much a ton of respect for the two of you and your willingness to put yourselves in a position where you have one goal, right? You have one mission, and that's to advocate, right? You're there specifically for the players. Your goal is to be sure that the players have resources that don't depend upon some other issue that might be out of your control or their control. And I'd be loath to see that advocacy go away too soon, because I'm not sure what replaces it. And it's been such a huge boon to the players to have that. And so just my gratitude to the two of you for what you've done.
Thank you.
Your focus is players. Your focus is, we've talked about this, we as in the rugby people, talk about, we know it's hard for players, right?
Yes.
American international rugby players are not paid a full time.
No.
So they can just say, that's what I am.
Yes.
And we know that other teams are.
Yes.
So that's tough. And obviously, right, great. Play in the PWR and things like that. That's fantastic.
It's great.
But the hardship exists. There are players. Look, Eagle captain has another job. She has a day job.
Yeah.
So you're focused on let's make sure they're at least not encountering hardship. Would that be a good way to talk about it?
Yeah, I think it's really important because the players are experiencing hardship, and there's at this moment no real way to get around that, but we're working to get around that. We want to make sure that the players are as supported as they possibly can be. So that looks like having Adopt an Eagle, where you could support a player directly, straight to their pocket, whether that's a donation to them, equipment that they might need, they're getting supported. Or they have with our scholarship, so you can apply to us and say, hey, I need this amount of funds because I need to pay my rent while I'm on tour. So there's different ways to support the players. We can't at this time fully erase the hardship, but we want to make sure everyone knows that there is hardship and there are players to support that need them, that truly need them if we want to have an amazing brand of rugby that's on a global stage. Because right now, the players are on 6 month contracts to get them through World Cup and training, which is amazing. But before this point, if you were to watch any game that USA played against the England, the France, the New Zealand, and you ask how many professional rugby players are in a 15s match on the field, it was never more than 15. And it was never us.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So we want to bridge that gap.
Transparency is very important.
Yes.
For you guys, I mentioned the massive percentage that is going straight into the program. And look, we all know if you want to make real money in this country, you start a nonprofit.
Yeah.
You can, right? People don't seem to ask a lot of times, where's that money going? You've already come from a place of, look, this is where it's going. It's, whatever. I think you said 96% is going out the door.
Oh, yeah. Directly to the players. And everything else is in the bank account to make sure we don't incur any bank fees. Because we have a minimum balance.
Well, sure.
And if everything's supposed to go to the players, we can't be incurring bank fees to bring our balance down and down and down.
Right.
So we want to make sure that everything that we get is for the players. Always, always, always. And that's a non-negotiable.
What I wanted to come here to say is I'm so excited to be surrounded by so many people who support women's rugby, and it's really such a special thing to see even people who don't really know a whole lot about rugby coming in and being interested because of the people that this program is run by. The XV Foundation is doing amazing things for the 15s team, and I can only wish them the best of luck for a World Cup year. And as Jan was saying, a lot of the players do work full-time, and it is hard to take time off in order to play. We hope that when we represent USA Rugby, we're representing the best parts of Americans, and we try to do that the best we can. With the Sevens team, we have our values: courage, selflessness, love, resilience, and work ethic. So we just hope by putting on the red, white, and blue, we can embody that, and people can see who we are as players. And hopefully they can get behind that, because it's so much more fun to watch sports when you're invested in the team and you're interested in the players and their stories off the field. So it's really fun to get to come to events like this, and you can all get to know the players as not just someone who puts the cleats on in the jersey and runs down the field or misses a tackle, God forbid. But it's really cool to have people want to support something that's in such an exciting position right now. We know that with resources, with funding, with lack of having them stressed about full-time jobs, with the financial security that donations can bring, we know that they can put their best foot forward in training. Because a lot of times, there is stress of you're overseas and you're at a camp and you have to wake up in the middle of the night for a work call. I know girls who work full-time.
Now, let's talk about the women's alumni, the Eagle alumni group. Mm-hmm. There are some very successful women.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So who maybe haven't donated because it's not going to the cause that's near and dear to their heart.
Yeah, I think that's part of our mission right now is to bring the alums back into the fold. Because they have been so disenfranchised by their experience as players that they have probably had to financially recover from having to pay for their own flights and camp fees and halting their careers for a number of years, and that it may have left a sour taste in their mouth, and we understand that, right? So we want to make sure we bring the alumni back into the fold and give them a reason to donate. It's not because you are alumni you have to donate, but because these players are you. These players were you, and if you could see any part of your story in them, then hopefully that will compel you to donate. But we also understand that it's been so hard for them to have the experience that they had and then ask to give back. That can't be easy. So we're looking to give everyone a reason to support. We have such a diverse set of donors, right? From people who casually like rugby, people who love rugby, men, women. It just runs a spectrum of individuals out there. That's from the $5 donation to the $500 monthly donation, and that's absolutely amazing. And we need all of it, right? So whatever you can give, please give. It'd be absolutely incredible, and I think the players more than deserve it. And I think we all want to see a great brand of rugby out there. And the more the players are supported, the better the brand of rugby and the better that we can all enjoy the game.